no gold is not enough.
Hello, everyone. On this episode, we gather with Sydmarie Rodriguez, clinical social worker, and Neftali Martinez, counselor in psychology, to talk about the importance of self-love. Self-love is the driver of well-being, the dictator of your happiness, and we want you to create awareness and start being selfish in order to embark on an amazing journey that is being imperfect. Enjoy!
Welcome everyone to another episode of Transcend with M. Today, we are going to be talking about a topic that is often forgotten about, and that is self-love. Now, also this topic is often confused with self-care, and it's really important that we not only understand the difference between the two, but why creating awareness about self-love for yourself, not for others, can be the life-changing event that you have been waiting for. In order to dig deeper about this topic, today we have Sydmarie Rodriguez. She is a clinical social worker. And we have Neftali Martinez, counselor in psychology. Fellow Puerto Ricans currently residing in the great state of Texas. And helping a lot of people like you and I discover the love within us. So welcome, guys. How are you doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, awesome. So let's just open up with a very simple question, but not so simple, right? Why is important the self-love? Why do we need to make sure that self-love comes first? Who wants to get started with this? Neftali, I see you. You're ready to go. Let's go.
I really like to talk. So, uh, I think it's the core of every mental health problems that we face is not enough self-love. We usually confuse self-love with acceptance, and you look for acceptance for your parents, or you look acceptance for your kids even, or for your the person you share your life. And it's not that. It's you have to love yourself, and it's really deep. And people usually say it. You have to love yourself, but what that really means, you have to take time to take care of yourself. You have to look for ways to make yourself happy. Sometimes we don't have too much time, but sometimes take a break, make your coffee, or buy that chocolate and eat it. And you don't have to share with everyone, but you have to really love yourself. And you have to love yourself when you are skinny, but you have to love yourself when you have a few pounds, or you have to love yourself when you feel pretty, but some days we don't feel that pretty. And you say, okay, today I don't feel that pretty, but I still love myself,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Yes.
It's like a never-ending journey, right? Like I think, for on our society, especially ours, you know, our families in Puerto Rico, always what I heard was like, oh, when you find love, oh, when you that's gonna make you happy. Oh, when you find the first love of your life. And I think, what isn't thought to a lot of people, especially our kids, is that the first love is yourself. You have to learn how to love yourself in order to love others. And I think that's where we're having so many issues in our society, because we kind of embark and tell our children, and generation to generation, that in order to feel happy, you have to find love with somebody else. And when the reality is that love is here, is within you, and that's the only way that you can be happy and make others happy and surrounded by happiness. Sydmarie, what you have to say?
For me, self-love is important for everyone, because that helps us to increase as a person. And like you say, guys, everybody is everybody is confused about the self-love and self-care. And for me, I think that self-love is like be a little selfish, and I don't want to confuse everyone. But for me, it's like be a little selfish because you're gonna think about you. What do you want? Like Neftali said, if I have a couple of pounds in my body, um, and and I'm happy with that, and I'm happy that that I look and I don't care what others said about myself. The important is love yourself. What do you want? And that's gonna it is important the self love because I said that's gonna help to increase as a person, not as a person, as a professional, as a mom, as a daughter, as a sister. And I think that when we love ourselves, we're gonna keep in mind that we want to love more and more every time, because it's not that Neftali said and you said that our family, we have like, oh, you have to love yourself, you have to stop, for example, you have to start with that toxic relationship, and you have to start with, I don't know, with
It
that job
became
career.
like an empty phrase the people
Yes.
say, like
Right.
say stay positive, but what that means, what that really means.
Exactly.
And
It's
it's
like
hard.
we're
And
all
so,
in this search of love, and we all kind of like have this idea what love
mhm,
has to be, or like what happiness is. And the thing is, at least for me, like you have, sometimes I have gotten to that place where like I thought, oh, doing X is gonna make me happy. I'm gonna feel like very positive. I'm gonna like because I'm doing this out of myself, are things that are going to bring me
mhm,
um, to be more connected with myself. And then at the end of the day, it might be shallow, might be something that wasn't really. And then when I start tracing back the steps, it's like, well, what I actually needed was just time with myself. I probably just wanted to, binge to some Netflix, drink a bottle of wine, and just don't have anybody bother me. And that for me is like, happiness all around. And it's just
mhm.
loving just to be with myself at that moment, present at that moment with just myself.
And
I
that's
think
what I sorry, and that's what I thought, that's the reason why that sometimes we have it, self-love is like be selfish. I want to end
yeah,
up watching Netflix, I want to eat that chocolate, I want to
yeah.
drink that coffee.
I
So
think
But
that's a very selfish. I think that word is amazing because a lot of us think about selfish about like it's a very bad, perception about being selfish. But
mhm,
I feel the older you get, the more selfish you have to be, and not in the wrong way. Like for example, I have my daughter, she's 8, I have my husband, and everything I do every single day, every single second, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I am a housewife, I work, I have so
every
many
every
things going on, and all my time is to them. So why not be a little selfish and tell them, leave me alone. Please
mhm.
go have time for yourselves and leave me alone. It's nothing
yeah, it's
wrong with that. Or like, hey guys, I want to read a book. Can I have some quiet time? Like, it's nothing wrong with that. And just like, sending my kids to their grandmas. Like, people is like, oh, why you send your kids so much to your grandmas? And I was like, well, because I want that time. I need to be selfish with myself to be mentally in the emotional state that I need to be in order to continue to function. And I think that's the next part of this conversation is like, being emotionally healthy and mentally healthy is one of the requirements for showing self-love to yourself. So can we talk about this a little bit? Just like I don't definitely this is like your realm.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking, but if you see what is coming out of psychology is a lot of mindfulness.
Yeah.
In mindfulness is just remember the here and now is the only thing we have. And
Exactly.
here and now, you cannot deal with all the problems the next week's coming.
Yeah.
And sometimes here and now, you don't even can deal with what's coming tomorrow. So that's why you need to turn it every little voice down and just have some peace. As we get older, we appreciate more peace than excited or maybe a party or maybe a big adventure. Just give me peace.
Right.
I don't have to deal with this right now.
Now,
And that's a big part of self-love.
right. When we talk about, emotional mindfulness and making sure that we are in a great state of mind, that doesn't mean that we're not going to have bad days, that we are going to be all the time happy. I think, something about self-love as well is embracing your emotions. If you're sad, cry if you want to cry. Whatever it is that you deal with. If you are upset, embrace that and just do what you need to do in order to get through that tunnel. I think a lot of people kind of think that by being able to put away those emotions and put them in a box that they're doing a favor to themselves. But at the end of the day, it's just bottling up and it's going to come back to you. And then yourself, emotional awareness is just going to collapse. So, I think something that we really need to talk about and kind of like create awareness around is like self love. You have to embrace your emotions. You have to go through that tunnel from beginning to end, and you cannot bottle up or say, I'll handle you later, because it doesn't work that way. Because then you're not doing anything good for yourself, for your mind, for your heart, for your entire body. So, tell me a little bit more about how embracing your emotions can actually contribute to, taking care better of yourself and you know
You have
also.
to know what is happening with you. If you're mad, you're mad. You cannot be positive in that moment. You're mad.
Yeah.
If you're sad, cry or do some release, but don't deny your own feelings. That's are your feelings. And usually we don't cry because we don't want people to see your cries. You can tell to Sydmarie, I want to cry, I cry, and then I release and let's go to lunch.
Right.
Because I know that's the way I'm feeling, and I'm not gonna deny it now. I used to deny it before.
Mhm.
And if you're mad, if you ask me how you are, I'm kind of mad. Don't say fine if you're not fine.
Right. Right.
So the important is that let you, like, how can I say, like,
Release.
the release
Let it go.
thoughts and feelings, and you said, I'm so mad, but I don't want to talk. But if you have the opportunity to write when you get mad, or you have the opportunity to listen and music when you are mad and when you are sad, and you said, I don't want to listen to that music because I'm gonna cry more. It doesn't matter. Give you the time, like Neftali said, to cry. Give you your time to breathe, to internalize your thoughts and feelings. And because if you not give you the time to internalize those thoughts and feelings, you're gonna have a more crisis in the moment. So, and you cannot let all the irrational thoughts and feelings, like, how can I say, dominate you, like that.
Bottle up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Keep, keep,
So,
keep.
Yeah.
so you,
One of the big mistakes that people do in relationships and in jobs too
Mhm.
is keep that one. Like write it down in your mind, but you don't forget it. You
Right.
just say, I've been mad at you there for the last 2 weeks. You do this, but you don't forget it. If
Right.
you don't deal with it in the moment, they're gonna keep like a list. You're gonna keep, I'm mad with this.
Adding up
You
to
did
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned something about work. We spend more time at work than we spend at home, and usually, for more than we try to do it, we still bring whatever we went through the day. We still bring it home. Like, There is no person that can tell me that they leave work at work and come home and don't deal with it, because regardless if you don't talk about it or you talk about it, your entire day, the outcome of your entire day at home, when you come back at night, or if you have the first shift or a second shift or whatever it is, your mood, your emotions all depend on how that day went. So regardless if you say like, so tell me, what is the importance of dealing with that emotion in the moment? Because I feel that a lot of people embrace false positivity, where like they're like, oh no, I'm fine. And then it's like, well, no, I'm not fine. Like, I just want to just, do something about it, but I don't want to do something about it because I'm afraid. And then it's just, it's not that you're afraid, you're feeling afraid, because on self, as a person, your emotion, you don't, your emotions don't own you, so you cannot say I am. You just say I feel, because you own your emotions and you're in charge of those emotions. So tell me kind of how can you exercise self-love within the working environment and embracing those emotions when you kind of like are in a spot where like I don't know if I can do this.
Well, we have to practice self-love and assertiveness. We have to learn to receive assertiveness. Somebody's telling you you did something bad at work. It's not you. If you do something bad, it's not you as a person or you as a professional. It's just you do something wrong. And if you feel that something is wrong, you have to find a way to say it. And so people say, I won't say it because I'm so mad. Well, yeah, but that's why we practice this.
Right.
So you don't say in a bad way, but if something is not fair, you have to say it. And if you do something wrong, it's not personal. You as a professional, it's just sometimes this is not what the company wants, or this is not what was needed, and you have an idea it wasn't right. Don't take personal. Don't feel like they try to destroy me or they don't respect me. The facts. What happens? What can you do better? And when is something wrong, say it.
Yeah. And I think that and Sydmarie, then we'll go to you, but like, so you can tell us a little bit about this. But like, I feel, and maybe people might think like, oh, these people is talking about all different topics here, but self-love is just giving yourself permission to experience all these things that you have to experience through your entire day, in order to go to bed at night and say, you know what, I'm happy. I did the best that I could do today, and I'm happy with the person I was today. So at the end of the day, you have to give permission to yourself in order to experience that self-love that you should be experiencing on a day-to-day basis. I think, and Maria, I want you to kind of like dig in a little bit on this, but sometimes people, like I said at the beginning, confuse self-love with self-care. Self-care is like, I gotta go to the gym, my body needs to continue to work, I don't, I need my joints are getting a little, as we get older, we're like, oh, my back hurts. So that's self-care, going to the doctor, going to the spa, going to the chiropractor. That's self-care. But self-love is about everything and anything you go through on a daily basis, and giving yourself that permission to get to know yourself better, and to get, to understand the emotions that you experience on a daily basis. So, Sydmarie, can you talk to us about a little bit, you know, how how need how we need to embrace that capacity of who you are in order to find self-love?
Well, I said that at the beginning that we have to be selfish when we're gonna try to have self-love, but it's important to keep in mind the self-esteem too, because if you, if it's about self-esteem too, because if you have a self-esteem, like self-esteem is like it's like you accept yourself as you are, no matter the other people said. And and once we have keeping in our mind about self-esteem, I think that we're gonna have more self-love. uh and 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 you have to think of that. um I have, like, how can I say it? One eye more big than the other one. That's an example. But but I love myself. I love who I am. And the important is that how you're going to talk to yourself when you look at you at the mirror
Mirror.
and
Mirror,
mirror.
mirror.
so, so the thing is that when we talk about self-love, that you are right, the self-care is different to self-love, because um, that's the reason. Once you said, oh my God, I love myself. If I love myself, I have to go to do self-care, because I wanna do the things that I love. I wanna feel better. I gonna feel in peace with me, like Neftali said at the beginning. That is when I feel in peace with me, with myself. And that and and when you are like not 100%, but when you have a like strong self-esteem, you're gonna love yourself more each day. So, and that's what I think about the three, the boss. They are connected. So
Yeah,
and
I think there is a certain glow to people when they have high self-esteem, high understanding on who they are. They kind of like portray themselves better out there, more secure,
mhm,
more in charge, right? Like when you experience and you are exercising
mhm,
self-love, self-care, um, all of them combined, you kind of go out there and you don't really care what anybody thinks, what anybody has to say. Like, yeah, we do care like what other people think of us always, but you don't depend or let that define who you are because of the high self standard that you have of yourself and the self love that you have for yourself. So, Natalie, you you sent something to us here, and it's a quote by Carl Rogers that says, "The curious paradox is that when we accept, or when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change."
Yes. Carl
Tell me
Rogers
more
is
about that, because I think it is a never ending process. I think people is like, oh, when I find love, or oh, but self love it ends when you die, and we all have to die, and it ends when you die. But it's an eternal, as long as you live, you are in this on this journey of getting to exercise self love, getting to know yourself. You learn a little bit more about yourself every day. So tell us about this quote. What does it mean to you? And then we'll jump to Sydmarie as well. And why is it so important for people to understand it?
yeah. It was one of my favorite quotes, and he's one of my favorite psychologists. And it's a deep connection with yourself. This is a relationship that was gonna last all your life.
Yeah.
And it's not only love yourself, it's a long time accept that, okay, well, yeah, I'm not perfect, I'm working on it. Yeah, don't be that hard on yourself, because we judge ourselves sometimes a lot more, and we think people are watching us as if we are not really dressed, and people don't care. People are in their mind, in their life.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't care if they are watching us.
Mm-hmm.
If you love yourself enough, you can see in youth people, they don't have this yet. They believe they have it, and they say, "I don't care what everybody says." And somebody's watching, and they start fight
Yeah.
because they are not in love with yourself yet. This is a relationship that is starting, and you see people with high risk behavior, then they cannot be alone.
Yeah.
They cannot be alone with their mind. They have no peace. When
Mm-hmm.
you have a good self-love, you have peace. When you are alone with your thoughts, and you see them doing drugs or then doing risk behavior
Yeah.
because it's a big self-love that is not there yet,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not gonna be I'm gonna self-love myself to love. It's a relationship that goes every day, and sometimes you are proud of what you achieve, and sometimes you just okay, honey, you will do better tomorrow.
Well, do you think it's because they don't understand that
It's
there
because
is
it's not easy.
beauty on imperfection? Like none of us are perfect.
Yeah,
And I
that's
don't think
such.
people understand that there is so beautiful to be imperfect. Self-love is to be imperfect and beautiful and accepting yourself just the way you are.
Mm-hmm. And the,
So
and the other part then is that when we think about the self-love and we try to find answer, but the reality is that we are the answer.
yeah,
So, and we don't have to find the answer about self-love, self-love in another person,
right.
because the other person, they they will not make you. You are the responsible of you, of yourself, of your self-esteem. You are the responsible about your life. So you don't have to depend to the others to have self-love. You have you need to have self-love first, and then the other things they gonna
It will come.
start up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the other person.
Yeah, I think from a relationship standpoint, I think we worry so much about, ooh, I'm going on my first date. I have to look good, or I have to say the right things, right? Like I haven't dated in 14 years, so that's nice. So I don't know how it's done nowadays, but like, but in reality, I feel like when you're dating, the first date, you should just show up, no
Mm-hmm.
makeup, no nothing, and then if they like you still, then you're a winner. Like
It's a risk.
it's so funny. It's so funny because we try to impress the other person so much when they in reality should be just falling in love with who we are completely, regardless of our, imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just overall, we just have to do a better job in our society to make sure that we foster, especially our children. I mean, we are lost causes. We're learning this as we go, but at least, for our future generations, we can kind of impart that from the womb, or like when they start understanding, I love mom and I love dad and I just love them because I'm a 3 month old or 6 month old. I don't understand anything about life, but I do understand that that person loves me. And then when they start growing up and they have the capacity to understand what love is, we should be telling these kids, our kids, listen, love is here. And when you love yourself, when you are who you are, then you can start loving everybody else. I think
Mm-hmm.
that will bring us to another podcast about, talking about behavior and what things we should say or not say and whatnot, because then we will be here for 3 days. But, reeling it back in, I think, overall, nowadays we are living in a very difficult times, with this whole COVID happening. I think, we're seeing the news and seeing like the spike on domestic violence or suicides or things like that. I think it is important that we talk about, as we are unable to like socialize or have many distractions, right? Because distractions take us away from that self awareness. that we need to start talking about more on this topic and make sure that people know that the power is within them to make the change about themselves and that they don't depend on other people in order to make that happen.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate you guys being here with me today. It was great having you both. I know it's early there in Texas. Just changed times. All the zones changed last night, but I cannot tell you how happy this makes me, and I cannot be more proud of both of you for doing the work that you do with all the women and children that you take care of on a daily basis. We definitely cannot talk about work because it's confidential, but I can definitely say that I'm honored to have you in my life, and I just I know that when I need something, I can just pick up the phone and call and say, "Ah, I need to cry today." um, so thanks for everything you do. For everyone watching, this is what we want to continue doing, changing the world together. And I really appreciate you being here with us today. So thank you so much. You can find Neftali in Martinez on LinkedIn. You can also find him on Instagram, and you can also find Sydmarie on LinkedIn and Instagram as well by Sydmarie Rodriguez. And if you don't follow us yet, make sure that you click on that Instagram account on Transcend with M. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel under Monica Dwani, and you can find me directly on LinkedIn as well as Monica Dwani. And we just hope that you want to change the world together with us. Thank you so much, and it was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.